Hello everyone, very good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome to the ATL Techpreneur 2024 session number 7. So today we have a very nice fireside session with our extreme guest and a distinguished guest from PMI. So we have Rashmi Mohandas ma'am with us. So today we'll be learning about business model canvas and how to dive deep into it, learning the nitty-gritties of it, how to create it, what are some of the pitfalls of not having a BMC, what are some key components of BMC, what are some value propositions that a business can have, and so just introducing Rashmi ma'am once. So Rashmi ma'am is an agile practitioner and she has spent around 15 odd years honing the skills and knowledge in the project management domain. She is currently the assistant manager corporate development and strategic projects at Alliance Services Private Limited. So and she's right now volunteering with PMI Kerala. So without much ado, I would hand over to Rashmi ma'am for a quick intro.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Suman sir. It's an honor being here. We've just, how do I call it, had a tie-up with ATL in Trivandrum, all the ATL labs. So we have a regional mentor here from Rajdhani who gave us an intro on all of the beautiful things that you're doing for the next set of kids who are coming up. So it's an awesome opportunity to be here, and thank you so much for this.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. We are very, very grateful to have you as a part of this session. So we'll be structuring our whole conversation of fireside chat into three basic model rounds. So we'll be first understanding the need for a business model. Then we shall go and decode the business model canvas. And towards the end, we'll try to understand how to build a sustainable business. So without much ado, I think we can start now. No?
Sure, absolutely.
So, Rashmi ma'am, based on your expertise, like we have a group of students aged from the grades 6 to 12. We have their teachers joining us. We have their mentors who are mentoring them to prepare their digital products joining us. So, if you can just explain them what is a business model and why creating a business model important when starting a business and right from the start.
See, when we start out to build a house, we cannot simply say that, okay, I'm going to build a house now. You cannot simply just start. What do? We have a plan. We will have a proper structure in mind that, okay, I'm going to need 2 bedrooms. I will need one kitchen. I will probably have an attached bath. I will have a common bath. I will need a balcony. I will probably need a first floor. So this is the basic principle why we need a business model as well. We cannot simply headlong jump into a business idea because we have an idea. Okay, I want to build a product which makes this way or makes a certain path easier for my customers. I'm just going to do it. No. What a business model does is it is actually a framework which tells me how to outline, how to create, deliver, and capture this value that I'm trying to generate. I have a product idea in mind. I want to give it out to the customers. My business model will tell me how I should go about in creating it, how should I deliver it, and how will the customer get the value that they intend to get out of it. Right? The model, um, the model will also describe. I can simply go and see. Supposing I'm somebody who is manufacturing a shampoo. Shampoo could be for any human being on the planet. It could be for the pets that we have. It could be for the men. It's all you've seen the multitude of products that we have, right? Each segment has a different kind of product that they use. So I should be able to know which customers I'm targeting. Who is my target customer, right? What do I plan to deliver? Is it anti-dandruff? Is it anti-hair fall? What am I delivering? Right? That's the value proposition that I'm giving out. Also, how am I going to generate revenue? Obviously, none of us are into the market for charity. 99% of all business ideas that are launched in the market are done for profit. Bill Gates didn't develop Windows so that he can give it out free for us. No, we use the crack version. That's a different thing. But still. So for this profit generation, that's your revenue sources. How do we do this? And how are we positioned in the market? Because there's a lot of competition. We're quite aware. Every stream that you pick, any idea that you pick, I will have a competition. Why? Even online learning platforms. You talk about upgrade, you will have uh, what is it? Simply Learn. You have Udemy. Even they have competitors. So you must also be able to model out how am I better than my competitors or what am I doing differently from my competitors. So all of these comes into your business model. Your business model will capture this, the ideas that you have, your target customers, what you plan to deliver, how do you plan to deliver this, how can you make a profit, how am I stationed in the market, how will I look in the market. This is one area why a business model becomes mandatory for anybody who has a new product or new business idea to launch. Also, one more thing that the business model captures is the challenges that we could possibly face. For instance, if I'm planning to build a laptop, you look at the variety of laptops that we have. So how am I going to bring this? How will the customer say that, okay, I want to buy X brand, not Y? We have HP, Lenovo, Dell, like, there are a multitude. How am I going to be better? And what are the challenges that I will possibly face? Now, this is something that a business model can help us identify really, really quickly in the very beginning before I launch my product into the market.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, for explaining business model in so much detail. Now, what will happen if a company does not have a business model? And so, like, let's say a startup who is just building a product does not have a business model. What are some pitfalls that it can?
Okay. I don't know how relevant this is, but uh, nowadays I'm not sure if kids go to home tuitions. When I was a child, we used to have these tuition teachers near our homes, and my next door neighbor would take tuitions for me.
We
So
still
at
go a
that
lot.
point, sorry?
We still go a lot. Like, yeah,
Okay,
it's very
super.
relevant.
Now it's a chain. That's what I was coming to. Now these are tuition chains. So my next door neighbor would probably have had 5 kids. Me and my friends, we were only students that he had. He used to teach us maths and science, and we used to leave. He has not graduated from there. He still has 5 students, possibly 7 or 8. Right? Now, he has never planned to take that business further. He wants to make revenue out of it. He's very good at teaching maths. But if he had modeled this correctly as a business model earlier on, if he had planned to make this bigger by building a business model on this, for instance, he would have said, today I have 5 students, I'm teaching at home. Next year, I will put out a few flyers, I'll make a few advertisements, I'll bring in 5 more. If he had planned this, if he had had a business model earlier on, his business would have grown. Tuition is a definite business nowadays. People make a lot of money. So if he had planned that earlier, his revenue sources would have increased. You get that? The pitfalls of not having a business model largely goes into not being able to generate revenue. Initially, I know, okay, 10 members, they're happy, I've made my revenue. What about after that? After that, I don't have a clue. Then it's a scale, how to grow. That's what I said. He's got 5 students now. If he had planned, he would have majorly built a tuition chain. There are lots of it. Byju's is a very good example of that. Byju's used to take tuitions in Bangalore. I used to come from college. I've seen Byju's run on a terrace in a building. Look at the scale that they've grown to. So a proper business model will help us achieve scale. It will help us grow. Then there's a profitability. Profitability is you must be able to cover your costs. When running a business, there is a cost incurred. There's a cost of running that business. And then there's an income. Now your profit is the difference between this income and cost. If you have a proper business model in place, you can always increase the margins while keeping the cost constant. That takes a bit of planning. The modeling will cover that. Then you have a competitive advantage. Now, this guy used to teach maths and science. He could have told, okay, science I'm going to split physics, chemistry, biology. He's catering to a larger segment. So this competitive advantage from the other person who was taking tuitions, he would have got that if he had built this earlier. So that's the main pitfall of not having a business model. I always look at it as not being able to generate proper revenue. If you don't have a proper model, you will not be able to generate proper revenue.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Yeah. So essentially, creating a business model is very, very essential and very, very important for any business to succeed and to actually scale up later on as well. So in the last session, we actually learned that the way to represent the business model is something called as a business model canvas. So
Yes.
we really appreciate if you can just explain what is a business model canvas and what are some of the key components.
See, business model canvas is actually a strategic management tool. I say strategic because it's used for future planning of any business that is launched in a company. It's not something that a business, I need not use a business which I only plan to launch once and leave it at that. Now, supposing I'm trying to building a product, this week I'm going to sell it, next week I'm not. I don't need to use a BMC. But if I'm planning on building a business, a product that has to sustain itself, then I need a tool which will help me do this. So, which is why BMC is called a strategic management tool. It provides a visual framework. Framework as in it aids us, it helps us see what we are developing and how are we documenting it. I have an example of a template. Is it okay if I display it on screen?
Yes, please, ma'am. Please.
Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. I hope it's visual. It's viewable by you.
Yes, it's
Someone
visible.
said, yeah, okay. See, this is essentially what we call as a business model canvas. We have these 9 blocks of a model canvas, which are partnerships, key activities, value propositions, and a few other terms. I'll come to that. We also have something as designed by. What is this designed for? Why are we designing it for? Then there's a design by. Who did this? Then there's a date and a version. We have a version because this is not fixed in stone. This is something that is constantly changing. This is a live document. Right. Now, the 9 blocks here mainly highlight what all are mainly required for a business to survive. First is, I always say that the most important aspect of your business is your idea, is a product, is a service that you're going to deliver. That is the value proposition. What do you plan on giving to your customer? That is the value. Then you have your customer segments. Whom are you selling this to? I mentioned shampoo earlier. Shampoo, you can have multiple customer segments. You can have shampoos for women, men, pets. That's one aspect. You can have for age groups. You can have for multiple factors. You can have for anti-dandruff, anti-hair fall. So all of these are actually segments. If you look at it, you have a wider audience base when you write it down. When you put it down on paper, then you know whom all you're targeting. That's that. Then you have customer relationships, how to maintain your relationship with the customer so that they come back for more. We all have a favorite brand of soap, favorite brand of perfume. We keep going back to them because it's that good. Or we have a favorite shop which we go to near our home because we have a good rapport with the person who's making the sales there. So that's how we build a customer relationship. Then you have channels. Channels are how you put this product to the customer. How do you bring it to them? It could be your local kirana shops. It could be supermarkets, online. There are lots of ways of bringing it to the end customer. So those channels are listed here. But then not every channel will suit every product or every customer segment, right? You need to get this. Your depending on your customer segment, your channels might vary. Supposing you're sticking to a product which, let's say, you're catering to the lower middle class, they might not be as online friendly as the IT sector is, right? So your channels will change. At that point, you will have to have a channel to the local kirana store. If you're targeting housewives, then your channel will change. If you're targeting the working man, your channels will change. So these things can be mapped here on your BMC. Then you have your cost structure. Cost structure is essentially the cost which we incur while running a business. What all could that be? Rent, vehicles, the power that we consume, the machinery that we use, all of these, all the expenses incurred for this fall under cost structure, right? Then you have the revenue streams. Revenue streams are how you generate profit. How many types, how many variants of your product can you launch? All of these are your revenue streams. And then you have your key activities, key partnerships, and key resources. Key activities are those which you have to do for your company to keep running. Which ones could they be? They could be first and foremost, you have to have production. Yes. Then you have to have marketing, sales, and so on. Customer support, mandatory. Key resources are those which your business will not sustain without it. It could be people, it could be machines, it could be anything for that matter. Human, no, non-human resources could be anything, but then they're very vital for your business to survive. Then you have key partnerships. Key partnerships are those that you make to ensure that your business is running. See, I keep telling this to my son, his key partnership is always his parents. So he has no way of making us look bad or fighting with this, because if he wants something, then he has to be in a good partnership with me. So key partnerships are those which a business has so that they have a smooth flow. Their business runs smoothly. All the channels are executed correctly. Every activity is done correctly. To do this, you need to have key partnerships with certain people. So that is the template of your business model canvas. I hope this was okay, Suman sir.
Yeah, it was great, ma'am. Like Now let's have a look at some of these components in a little bit more detail. So
Sure.
one of the major doubts whenever any student is preparing the business for model canvas is related to the value proposition. So what can a student add in the value proposition part? And if you can share with some examples of value proposition with some brands, maybe with some products which are commonly used.
Sure. Value proposition. See, today, this session that we are having, this has a value proposition associated with it. This is to educate the audience about what a business model canvas is, right? Every activity that we do has a value proposition, yes. But when it comes to your business, your value proposition is generally the product or the service or the benefit that goes out to the customer. It should be capable of either solving a customer's problem or satisfying any one of their needs in one way or the other. Get it? It's not necessarily something tangible, or rather, it need not be physical. I mentioned Udemy earlier on. Udemy does not do anything physical. Their value proposition is knowledge. They give out information. Whereas when you talk about Head and Shoulders, their value proposition is a shampoo which you use. You talk about Pierce, that's a soap. You talk of RGO and trends, those are clothes. Now, there are value propositions that don't fall under any of this. You've heard of Airbnb. I'm pretty sure all of them would have heard of Airbnb. Uber, everybody knows Uber. What is Uber's value proposition? They provide a service for people to travel from one place to the other. See that's a very unique initiative which kicked off beautifully. So the more unique the value proposition that a business idea generates, the more revenue streams it will have. The more easier it is to capture the market because there are very few competitors. I hope this is clear over this.
Very much clear, ma'am. Thanks a lot. So, if you can explain what is exactly meant by a customer segment and why is it necessary for all the startup entrepreneurs that we have to segmentize these customers?
True. See, customer segment is not only for startups, Suman sir. Uh, I currently volunteer with PMIKL. I told you that. So I take sessions for students. See, essentially, this is a product idea. This is an idea by PMI Kerala to market ourselves. You get that? We are a not-for-profit organization, but we still deliver certain services. Our value proposition is that. I cannot, the class that I'm taking right now, rather the session that I'm in right now, this session I cannot deliver to a corporate segment. For a corporate sector, my session will be completely different. I will have a workshop kind of a session. That is my customer segment. My customer segment that I'm currently dealing with right now are students, right? My product should reach out to the students. It should satisfy their needs or it should solve their problem. One of this should happen. So that's one customer segment that I'm dealing with. Corporate sector, on the other hand, they have clearly defined requirements that I have to meet. They are very specific. Now they want to talk about a business model canvas on Clarify. I will have to stick to the Clarify template alone. I will have to solve their problem before coming out. So that is my second customer segment. Customer segment is actually a group of people or organizations that my business aims to reach and serve. Right? For instance, if I have a dog, I have a dog at home and I buy pet soap, pet medicines. The people who are manufacturing that, their primary customer segment is pets. In that, they have bifurcations. They will have medicines for dogs. That's one customer segment. They will have some for cats. That's another. So basis the pets that we have at home, their customer segments increase. Why is it necessary? For one, it gives us very tailored products. I always joke with my husband that, for women, it is very difficult to find anti-dandruff, anti-hair fall shampoo. But for men, you will find a product, all six. You can even use it for car wash. So you see that marketing, that tailoring the product is very easy when there are different customer segments, when you know which segment you're targeting. But then if I'm saying a comb for everybody, it won't work. My product will not sell because it does not have variants. It does not have many features in it. What attracts the customers to my product is the features that I provide. My customer segment will help, identifying my customer segment will help me bring in more features, add more value add to the product that I'm delivering. Then specific needs, very specific needs. I can go with the dog cat example only. For cats, the needs are very different from that of dogs. dog bed has to be, depending on my dog size, my dog bed has to be of different sizes. Whereas for cats, it's almost universal. It'll work. Any size will work. It's all the same size, almost the same size. So that is one thing where the customer segment will help me market. I'm going to market, how am I going to market this? Dog beds for a Labrador or dog beds for a Rottweiler. Whereas for cats, it's going to be dog beds for cat beds. That's it. You see that when I have my customer segment clearly earmarked, it is very easy for me to tailor my product to their needs and market it also.
Thank you, ma'am. Like next, we'll dive into the customer relationship management. Like, if you can please explain why is it important for any business to maintain a good relationship with their customers?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this. I mentioned a pointer earlier on. I have a favorite supermarket here. Because my style is I don't want anybody interfering when I shop. I do my shopping and I get out. I largely do online. My favorite is Amazon because I've been shopping with Amazon for the past 10 years. The biggest plus of Amazon is their customer service is always accessible. I can call them, they'll pick the phone or they call me back immediately. So how does it help me? It makes me feel valued. I keep going back to Amazon. I will not touch Flipkart at all. No, I'm not I'm not, how do I call it, marketing any specific brand. I'm just giving you an example. I will not go to Flipkart or I will not go to Jio or I will not go to any other specific brand because I know I'm best served by Amazon. If there's a product on Amazon, if there's a product that I want and Amazon doesn't have it, I have actually requested the customer service to provide it and they have. Okay. Now, what does it do? It brings in customer loyalty. I will only go with Amazon. I'm not going to go to Flipkart. On the other hand, my sister, she's always been a Flipkart customer. So what does this mean actually? It means that if my business or if the business that I'm going to is treating me well, if they're treating me like I'm a valued member, if they're giving me what I want, if they're listening to my complaints, then it means that I'm going to go there for repeat business. And they have my loyalty. I will only go there. Second is, I told you, I've been a customer of Amazon for the past 10 years. For next 10 years also, I'll be a customer of Amazon. So my business is guaranteed for them. And I buy everything, A to Z, everything is on Amazon. Then there is the aspect that we don't think of is for the seller, there's always very important feedback that they get. Now, when I am, let me talk about a supermarket nearby. If I'm somebody who shops there regularly, I can go and tell them, Madam, in aisle 4, you place your products like this. It's very confusing. Can you change it around? They will take that suggestion. For one, I'm a repeat customer. Second, it increases their business as well. Right? Then the last aspect that we don't think is upselling or cross-selling. See, each of these customers that come in, they will recommend your supermarket or your online store to somebody else. They might be future customers who are going to build this for you. You know, they might increase your chain without you knowing. Right. So that's one aspect why I believe customers should have. Like if you go back, Suman sir, I don't know if the kids today will know, but when we were kids, we used to have one shop near our house. We would probably have around two or three a bit far away. But if the two or three which are far away, they treat us well, we'll bypass this and go there because they'll talk nicely to us. That's the reason. So that's exactly the reason why we need to maintain relationship with the customers. Mainly, it brings in repeat business.
Yeah, and I think now also like the kids might have many loyal shops. Like
Yes.
there, like right now, though there are many online brands like Ajio, there might be Myntra, there might be
True,
Flipkart,
true.
there is Amazon, but there is always an offline store, that uncle, that general store uncle whom we can give. So
The chart
sometimes,
shop, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Sometimes I remember that whenever we go and we did not have 10 rupees, when we fall short of 10 rupees, he told that no
True,
problem,
true.
agle baar de dena. So that is something
Exactly.
that is there, and customer relationship binds a person for life. So like
True,
once a good customer experience is there, so they'll feel as a part of the whole family. And business is not
true.
just transactional; it's more than something, more than transactions
Exactly.
actually. So yeah,
Exactly. So
loyalty
you
was
said put
spot
that
on.
really well.
So I'm like, let's come back to the value proposition aspect of it. We receive a lot of questions like there are some, what are some channels with which a business can actually deliver the value proposition to its customers. So if you can share some of the channels and what its importance is.
Sure. Channels. See, any way that you can sell your product, any way that you can sell your service or knowledge becomes your channel. We used to have door-to-door salespersons earlier on. Nowadays, I don't see much of that. That itself used to be a channel at that point. But now we've, technologically advanced, largely used as online platforms. But then I think I mentioned earlier, depending on the customer segment, whom are we selling the product to? That is what will determine your channel. Now, if you're talking about even now, if you're talking about, say, suburban places, village, city borders, you will have a large number of housewives, people who are retired who live there. So many of them are still not very techno savvy. They still go to retail stores. Okay. Or they will prefer, they still have people. My aunt in Bangalore, she has somebody who comes home with bed sheets every month. So see, that is her channel. That salesperson is her channel. And when he comes, neighborhood, all these houses, all these ladies will come, they'll buy bed sheets from him. So that's a channel that we have. So the target audience determines which channel you should adopt. Online stores, nowadays it's a hit. I did say, or Amazon and Flipkart, I mentioned earlier. Then you have retail stores. Largely chain of supermarkets. You know, this geo stores which have come in, smart stores, I guess. They are Reliance brand, they're everywhere. So there are certain products which only they will sell. That's very clever marketing. So that's there. Those are very good channels actually. Then you have social media. You have websites for all items nowadays. You can buy a laptop at the click at their website. You can buy jeans from there. So social media is a very good sales spot. But then again, it also depends on the target customer. So that's one thing that I always tell people, that you have to keep in mind, whom are you targeting? Whom are you targeting? That determines your channel. Channels are all of these online platforms, websites. You can have retail stores, supermarket chains. You can have sales teams. We've seen these, right? Car engine oil ads in front of a petrol pump. These are all channels actually. They'll sell samples of engine oil. So those are your channels as well. Then mobile apps. Right now, the most frequently running thing is mobile apps. So that's that.
Thank you, ma'am. So, whenever when we were mentioning about the business model canvas and its components, you mentioned three important things. One is key activities, key resources, and key partners. So, if you can help us understand what are the small differences between them.
Okay. I always like to put in analogies. See, while going to school, when we wake up in the morning and we have to go to school, go to office. Oh, no, office will not. I work from home, so it's no longer relevant for me. But my kid, if he has to go to school, there are two major activities that he has to do. One is put on a school uniform and pick up his school bag. Everything else is negotiable for going to school. School doesn't care if he brushes his teeth or has a bath, but he has to be in uniform and he has to carry his school bag. That becomes part of his key activities to go to school, right? So if we keep that in mind, for a company, key activities would be those that they have to perform for them to deliver their product and services correctly and to operate efficiently. Main thing is production, right? They have to produce their product or service with a certain quality assigned to it. You can't have very substandard things. You will have to have a certain quality to it. If they're if they're manufacturing clothes, then clothes have to have a certain stretch to it. It must withstand tensile forces to a large extent. It should not tear immediately, right? So certain activities that they have to do is perform production. They will have to have marketing, especially if it's a new product. They will need to have a marketing strategy to go with it. They will need to market themselves somewhere. Otherwise, they're not going to sell because there are lots of competitors. Then customer support. Without customer support, I think in today's world, no product will exist. At least it won't exist for a long time. I buy something, I find a fault in it, I need clarity on it, I will call customer support. I will definitely call. So for me, key activities that a company, or rather, I think that is universal. Key activities that a company must perform are production, marketing, sales also, and customer support. This has to be done by them. When we go to key resources are those, they could be assets, they could be entities which create, deliver, and capture this value. What does that mean? For instance, let's look at a pickle production plant. Pickle, just plain pickle. They're making mango pickles. So what are my key resources there? First is mango. I have to have them for having mango pickles. Then I have to have the glass jars, lids. I need to have the packaging sticker on it. The people or the machinery which helps me wash, clean, chop these mangoes, add the masala to it, put it in the jars and pack it. All of these become my key resources because they're very, very essential for me, for my product to go out into the market, right? So everything that works to get this product out onto the market, it could be human beings, it could be machinery, it could be vehicles, it could be anything. Those are the assets which help me create and deliver my value proposition to my end customer. Those would be the key resources. My kid always calls my car as his key resource to go to school because he'll miss his bus and one of us have to pick him up. That brings us to key partnerships. Unless and until he has a partnership, he has a good partnership with me and my husband, he's not going to school that day. He will miss his football practice. So key partnership is just that. Companies need to have collaborations. They need to have good tie-ins with other organizations also to help the business model grow. For instance, I mentioned PMI Kerala. We give out trainings. It's a not-for-profit organization, but we give out trainings to corporate sectors. If we don't have a good buy-in or if we don't have a good tie-up with companies, our corporate sector training will go for a toss. That is the product that we are offering. The key partnerships that we have give us the opportunity to sell our products. Is that clear to yourself? I mean, what I'm saying, is it coming across?
Yes, ma'am. Very, very clear. Thanks for explaining so much detail. So with that, actually, we move towards our third segment of our Fireside chat series. So which is actually what the importance of developing a sustainable business. Because we all know
Yeah.
that everything in business is something related to profit. If you don't earn, how will you invest in your resources? How will you
True.
provide salaries? How will you build your assets? And so, ma'am, if you can just explain us why is it important for a business to remain sustainable, profitable, and what happens if they are not sustainable?
Okay. See, the biggest example for this, I would say, in recent times has been Byju's. Byju's took off beautifully, right? They made the first 5, 6 years after they became what do you call it? After they came out to the market, they did beautifully. They had a lot of takers for their product, and there were lots of them. But slowly they started going down because what they achieved in the first 6 years, they were not able to replicate after that, which means they were not it was not a sustainable model. This I'd like to factor this with consistency as well. For instance, I write a maths exam today, I write a maths exam tomorrow, I write a maths exam day after tomorrow. Consistency means that I will score 60 today, I will score somewhere in the range of 60 to 65 tomorrow, and I will score somewhere in the range of 65 to 70 day after tomorrow. This is a very sustainable model, right? Because every day I have to put in 5% extra work, I will score two marks extra. That is my theory there. But if all of a sudden today I've written a maths test for 60 and I've scored 60, tomorrow if I'm expected to score 100, I will not be able to do that. I will have to be terribly inconsistent. Or if I've scored 60 today and I'm scoring 20 tomorrow, that will also make me inconsistent. The largest idea or the most important idea why a business should be sustainable is to attract investors. None of us like to see highs and peaks in our growth graph. We like to see constant lines or exponential curves, slowly increasing curves. So we like to see businesses which is able to deliver the same rate at any given point of time. I must be able to deliver the same profits, similar profits. I shouldn't say same, similar profits. Slight increase is very good. Good increase is extremely good. But if there's a decrease, then it's not well accepted by my investors. So I need to build a business which will give me the slight increase or probably even the constant is also okay. So that aspect is called sustainability. I must be able to repeat that again and again. Only if I'm able to repeat it, I will be able to build a business that is sustainable and profitable. How does it become profitable? There's a certain cost of business that is associated. I think I mentioned this. We will have to spend money on production, sales, marketing, resource accumulation. We will have to spend money on keeping the resources with us. We spend a lot of money on getting our business up and running. And we sell it to the product. Sell it to the customer. There's an income which comes after we sell it to the customer. That income minus the cost that I've already put in, that is my profit share. So my profit share, it should be constant or slowly increasing. That shows that my business is sustainable. I'm able to repeat the same percentage of success year by year. When I say success year, I mean profit. I'm able to repeat the same percentage of profit with increases every year. But then if there's a sudden dip, it will tell my investors that my product is not as dependable and my company is not sustainable. It also shows that depending on the trends, see, for instance, software companies, what we do is if there is a recession and all, we lay off people. We lay off people, and that is to keep our profits common. Our profits remain normalized. Cost incurred is reduced. When you're firing the topmost three people, then a very large percentage of their salary will fall into our profits. What are an investor seeing? They're seeing that the profit curve is constant. They're not looking at the costs incurred because we're cutting down on the costs incurred by letting go of resources. It is also necessary that we show that graph. If we are looking for external investors, that sustainability graph, that profitability graph becomes very important in a business. So if there is no sustainable business model, the worst part is we may not have enough investors. Second part is without sustainability, there is no growth. There is no future for that business in the market. That's the problem. For instance, let's look at fur. Animal fur was a huge thing a few years ago. There were lots of animals that were being killed and tortured to get out these furs. That was a good model at that point because it was sustainable. Then there were people who were buying that. But now it's not. Now, if somebody were to come up with an idea of selling animal fur coats, it will not work. The market will not take it in. So that would not be a sustainable model. I'm just giving an example. Was that clearly explained, sir? Did you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for sharing it. Can you throw some light on how, like, basically, Tinkerpreneur is more towards creating digital products and services? So, if you can share some examples of revenue models which are suitable for digital products and services that the students can use for creating.
Students now are very aware, sir, of revenue models for digital products. I bet all of them use Spotify. So if they are using Spotify, they know Netflix. If they know that, then they know exactly how to sell a digital business. First is there is something called a freemium. It's called a freemium. Freemium. Spotify does that very effectively. When I subscribe to Spotify, rather when I put the app Spotify on my phone, basic version is I can only select one song. What comes after that, Spotify will select. And after that, there are lots of ads nowadays. So I can't listen continuously to music that I like. What should I do? I will have to pay a small fee for my next version where I can select my songs to play. So that is one very effective strategy that I've seen. It's called a freemium, where you have basic services, you'll get it for free. You can listen to songs, but you won't be choosing them. Somebody else will be choosing them for you. You want to choose songs, you pay a small premium. That's a very effective strategy. Then and I shouldn't say this, but as Indians, we all like the buy one get one free concept. We all like it. So that's one thing. You can have a sale of goods. For instance, you buy this, you get this free. That usually works beautifully. For instance, I bought a phone recently, and with that phone, I got Spotify subscription free. I'm not joking. Spotify subscription, they gave me free. That's very attractive for me. That will work across, not just digital. It'll work anywhere in the market. Licensing is a very good thing. Windows profits are largely because of licensing. OS Windows, they license it. Whatever you need extra, they charge you for it. You have you have Windows 10, you have a specific set of cost. Windows 10 Pro, you will have something else. So basis the features that is being offered, you can vary the licensing costs. That's also an excellent revenue model. It's worked actually for many of them. Then there's advertising. You come across multiple social media channels, advertising your product, giving them a link right there, making it as easy as possible for them to click and go, and then make your UI very attractive so that people don't feel like, walking away from that. Those things are there. Apps are very good. Apps work. For instance, there is a software called Snapchat. I've not used it, but I've seen that when my nephew plays a game, Snapchat is automatically installed. There are certain games that he downloads and Snapchat comes along with it. It's a free software initially. Once you start using it, they'll charge you for it. That's there. Then Netflix has this, I think YouTube has it. There's a pay-per-view. When if it is something that is of a nature, visual nature, if it is something that is knowledge generation, then you can charge pay-per-use. For every use, you can rent it, you can use it once, you can use it twice, right? For $100, it's for 3 days. I've rented movies like that. So that's also there. So in short, we can have freemiums, we can have the get free options, you can have subscriptions. Netflix works on a subscription basis. For one, it is 199. For three users, it is 399, and so on. That is a very good model. Then you have app purchases, digital downloads. All of these will also work.
I think one of the very key models of revenue generation that kids and students nowadays would relate to is the one PUBG and Free Fire uses. So they give you a set of lives for free, and then for the additional lives you'll have to pay. Or else they'll give
Yes.
you a set of ammunition for free, and if you want advanced ammunition, either you can earn it, which is really very very difficult, or you can just go ahead and purchase it. So with the advent of PUBG, Free Fire, there are many more Call of Duty and many more games. So these kind of add-on purchases also
True,
increased a
true.
lot.
No, my child, he uses an app for Python programming. He's learning AI, and in the middle of it, he gets these notifications for graphic cards. I've never heard of this. He says there are Ryzen graphic cards. He mentions a lot of brands saying, I need to change my graphic card. This is the brand that I want. This is the spec that I want. I keep telling him, how do you get it? I play in this game and I get it as a pop-up. You should just look at the inventive ways people
Yeah,
come up with for
that is the way
advertising.
how AI and machine learning works nowadays. The recommendations
True,
engines are
true.
so powerful that like the ads are actually targeted to the exact customer so that it increases the process. And actually, even if you don't
Exactly.
buy it, it is inside your head in some way. And later on, when you see
Yes,
that, you'll just go and they'll purchase it.
true. No, he's very specific about the brand as well. And I keep thinking,
Yeah,
look at how effective that is. It doesn't leave his head, the name.
this is just amazing. Yeah, ma'am. So another like very important question that the students get is that like how does the cost structure impact the operations of a business, and what exactly falls into this category?
I think I mentioned, software industries, one of the biggest problems that we face is during recessions. Because what happens is we don't get enough projects to work on. So when there are not enough projects, we don't have enough revenue to come in. So that affects the total profit for the company. So what they do is they lay off employees. Largely, they lay off people who are very high earners. They will have company shares, percentage of profits which go to them. So those are the people who are first laid off. Why do they do this? They do this to bring the cost structure to make it a little more minimal because the income has gone down completely. There is no revenue for the project because there are no projects. So the income has gone down. If we keep the cost structure down at that point, then the difference between income and cost structure, my profit, I can always show it as almost stable. What does that mean? The cost structure is actually the amount that I invest in or the amount that the company puts in operate that business model. Everything that we do, it could include, see if it is a clothing line, it could include the rentals for the store that I have, the transport that I bring in, the people, the staff at my store, the AC where the staff is running, electricity associated with it, water. If they are serving food, then that vacuum cleaners that I use, all of these come under the cost structure for a specific company. Right? How does it impact the profitability? The greater, see, if you have a largely sustainable business, your profit lines are almost always gradually increasing. You will not have peak increases. Your profits, your total income that is generated by that business, let's say if it is 1 lakh and your cost structure is 40,000, then your profit is 60,000. Now let's say your cost structure becomes 60,000. Your income is still 1 lakh. Now your profit is 40,000. Higher the cost structure, lesser the profits that you make because you cannot generate large income over short time. Largely, 60% of businesses are like that. You cannot generate large income. But if you increase the cost structure, you will see that the profits which you get are going to decrease alongside because the income will not increase as much. So what do? We generally advise new businesses to do good research, to not go tie up with larger malls for their initial businesses, to start small. Start small and then scale up. Now, this can be done with effective business models, but that's a different discussion. So, to answer your question, cost structure is all of it which is needed to, it's the money invested to keep a business running. It could be fixed costs, rents, buildings, salaries. Then you have variable costs, which is what the cost that is needed to produce an item. Why is it called variable? Because see, today cotton might be available in the market at 100 rupees per kg. Tomorrow it will be 120. So the cost will vary. That's a variable cost. That is also part of my cost structure, my company cost structure. Then you have cost efficiencies. You will have to use proper equipment to ensure that there is lesser wastage. These are also part of the cost structures. So in short, if your cost structure increases, the profit that you make out of the total income will automatically increase, like I just mentioned. Where are you, for instance, if you have a shop in a posh area, city, as opposed to, not that posh, but yes, it gets good traffic. The posh area will probably charge you twice as much as this, which means that the cost that I've invested to keep this business running is twice as much. That brings down your profit.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. So I think you have already mentioned this, but if you can just recap a little bit about like some of the pricing strategies which are suitable for digital products and digital businesses.
Yeah, sure. See, largely for digital products, I've seen tiered pricing. They're called, uh, when I say tiered, it's because you have different levels of services at different price points. And it's not just for digital, it's anywhere. For instance, I will provide 10 features at 20 rupees. Now, if you want a little more premium than that, I will provide you 15 features at 40 rupees. Right? Depending on the service that I provide, depending on the level of service that I give, my costing will increase. That's what I said. When you have Windows, you have different versions. You have expert, professional. Depending on which version of Windows you want to take, your license cost will increase. It means that there are that many features associated with that, which you are now paying for. So that's called tiered pricing. Then there's called pay-per-use. Pay-per-use, I think people with a postpaid connection, it'll be easy for them to know. After a minimum internet usage, every GB that you use is charged. Our electricity bills work like that. After a certain slab, it's almost doubled. The next set of units that I consume is almost doubled. So that's a pay-per-use kind of a situation. Then the freemium and subscription pricing. That subscription pricing is what actually works for all of us. It makes it look very, very um, uh, lucrative for us. Whereas we think, okay, we're paying only so much, but over a period of time, those subscriptions actually add up to a large amount, which we don't realize. Consumers don't realize, but the businesses know the benefit of it.
Yeah. Okay. So that actually brings us to the last question of the day. So ma'am, as a part of the Tinkerpreneur boot camp of 6 to 8 weeks, every week we have an assignment. So this week assignment is that like as the students have already created their digital product, they have already refined it, they have already started to create a business model of it. We have asked them to learn a business model canvas. So what are the tips that you would suggest the students to fill while filling in the business model canvas? And any tricks you would have, like anything to keep in mind, any cool resources that they can refer?
Um, Okay. See, first and foremost, I would always tell them to do their research. Research. They have to research. They have to have a very good market research to understand their competition actually and the customer needs. What does the customer want right now? What is available in the market? What can you do better than your next best competitor? Only then your product will have some value in the market. If I'm offering the same thing that my competitor is offering, I may not have much stand. At least the cost should be reduced. But can I provide the same service at a lower cost? That is something that I should research. I should know if my cost structure can be brought down to that level. So research is very, very, very important. Second is I must have a clear business idea. For instance, let's say if I'm good at making crafts, I cannot simply put out a business idea that says I'm good at making crafts. What crafts? Am I good at making a mat? Do I know how to make bamboo furniture? Can I paint? What is the business idea? What is my product? What is the end product that I wish to deliver? What is my value proposition that I'm offering? This has to be very clear. And my business idea should focus on that only. You cannot have all the frills. You will have to stick to one basic concept. You will have to have clear idea of it. You will need to focus on it. Third that I've seen is people are very inflexible, sir. When they put down a BMC, they refuse to change it. They will not change it at all. I've seen it happen with my team, with my company. They will not change it. They're very, no, I've already put it in, I'm not changing it. No, that can't be the idea. See, technology is too fast nowadays. Times are changing they're changing like this. So what we need to do is we must be willing to adapt to it as well. So the more insights I get, or when the market conditions are changing, my BMC must also reflect that. Otherwise, my business is going to suffer a loss. So that's very important to remember that we are not inflexible. We have to be flexible. And feedback. We can talk to our mentors, we can talk to people who are running businesses right now to understand how they're doing it. I would recommend that the students meet people who are founders of startups. They'll be able to give them a lot of ideas on how to start off on things like this. Last is to be a little realistic. When you launch a business, losses are inevitable. We must bring ourselves to that frame of mind to ensure that we are okay with taking in loss just the same way we take in profit. Not every business will start off on a profitable leg, but then eventually it will. So if our business idea is clear enough, if it is unique, if it has that little pinch, oh my competitor, I will definitely make a profit. But I must be able to withstand that curve. So that mental strength is something that we have to bring in ourselves. I have a few examples actually of how the business. Can I show it? Can I share it on
Yes,
screen, sir?
please, ma'am. Yeah.
Give me a second, please.
I think the flexibility and adaptability point is like bang on, because you can't actually just create a business model and just tell that, yeah, this is my business model, I follow this. So each
Yeah,
month or maybe 6 months you need to review it and you need to
true,
change it.
true.
That is
This is a world of agility, sir. Things that I told you, they just change like this. You really don't. We would have fixed the technology 2 months down the line when we start the project. The client is going to come and tell us, I don't
yeah,
want that. It changes that quickly. So if we become
exactly.
inflexible, we are actually making a loss to our own business. Okay, yeah, just a second. All right. I just wanted to show you this BMC that is filled. I'm not sure if, and of course, 5 companies that I can show you how the value proposition for 5 of these is written. Ah, this is it. I'm unable to zoom in. I wonder why.
I, I think, ma'am, you can just click on Control Plus and you can.
No, yeah, it's working. I was, I have function at the very end of my keypad, not control, and I was clicking on function so far. Okay. You see this business model canvas where the modules are filled in correctly. They've mentioned their partners, who are their partners, activities, propositions, customer relationships, segments, channels, revenue streams. The examples that these companies or this company has picked is Airbnb. So you see, Airbnb's value proposition is personalized, affordable accommodation options worldwide. It's a worldwide company. It's operated by a company in Netherlands. Their customer segments are 2 types. One is people who are looking for cost-effective accommodation, and second is people who are interested in earning an extra income. You know what Airbnb's business idea is? They don't have anything to sell other than they're just the medium there. They're just the channel. They get people who have properties to rent. They put them up with people who want to rent properties. All Airbnb does is become the medium in between. It's a very unique idea and it's quite profitable for them because for them investment is it's very low. All they had to do was create a website. They don't even check the bookings. It's all the risk on on the person who's doing the bookings. Their customer segments is 2 types. Then they have channels, seamless integration of their platform across web. That's all they've had to invest in. Investment costs are very less for Airbnb. And then the revenue streams are always going to be constant. It's a percentage of the booking fee from each guest. The person who's renting the property don't have to give them anything. The person who's booking the property, they'll take a percentage of that. Key activities, host and guest support. They only offer customer support. I can call them if there's a problem. They'll check my booking. They'll talk to the owner. They'll get it done. But then it's what they did was their value proposition is very clear. They don't have anything to offer. They're only the medium. This is a very sustainable business model because investment required on this is very less. I'm just trying to tell the people to understand how this is written. Let's look at Uber also, and then we can close this. Uber is convenient, reliable, and affordable rides at the tap of a button. All we do is install an app. Using that app, yeah, it is. It is a bit complicated to bring in, Google Maps and all of it onto that app. But their idea is simply brilliant. Lots of us have had problems getting autos to go from one place to the other. Uber completely bridged that. The customers are individuals needing quick and easy transportation. There is no they don't have unique customer segments, but now they've brought in unique rides. You have Uber Go, you have Uber Premium, different things for people who want to access it. So this is something that I think the students can take a look at. Spotify is also there actually. These are all unique ideas, five unique ideas. Spotify is unlimited music streaming. There's a movie as well on Spotify. It'll help if they can take a look at it. Then there's Tesla and Zoom. I just wanted to share this with them as well. Because if they are trying to generate ideas, then there are businesses which run like this without any assets of their own.
I
That's
think the
beautiful.
students should go to the website and they should just on Miro and they should just study these 5
Yes,
case studies of business models and just
exactly.
have a look what a successful business model looks like. Because and if
Yes,
you want to understand more, just they have many documentaries on YouTube which explains their business and what they do.
absolutely.
Please go ahead and learn. That's great. So,
Absolutely.
ma'am, yeah, thanks a lot. Like, I personally learned a lot today from this session. Like, it was like it increased my business model canvas knowledge from like more than like I should say 1,000%. So, thank you very much, ma'am. I think the students, the teachers, and the mentors might also have learned a lot from this, and this would help them in actually creating a better product and a better project for the finale of Tinkerpreneur. So, for all of us at Atal Innovation Mission, the teachers and the students, I would like to thank you very much for sharing your experience and expertise on the different aspects of the business model. So, thank you very much, ma'am. And if you want to give any last minute closing comments for all the students and teachers.
I just want to wish them all the very best, sir. It's actually very heartening for me to see students attend, a session like this because we don't have people in the corporate sector who will come forward to attend this. They say that this is out of their heads. So it's delightful for me to see students come in and attend this. See, we need more entrepreneurs. We need more job opportunities. We need, that's the only way that the country can come forward. And I'm totally all for it. So thank you so much for joining the session. And thank you. Thank you for the opportunities.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And yeah, as ma'am just mentioned, so you can actually become the job creators instead of job seekers. So please invest your time and try to create whatever best digital product you have. Try to engage with your mentors a lot and seek their guidance and expertise in how to actually refine your product, how to actually make small changes. Because like when I was in a startup, so very small changes actually spiked your revenue or the business model by a lot. So there are some just small fixes and gaps that need to put. So please expertise, like please consult with these experts and mentors while preparing everything, and do keep submitting your assignments on time. I know that we don't like assignments, but these assignments are mostly related to fun. So these are in the form of puzzles, in the form of games and all. So please participate and do it on time. And yeah, all the best for the rest of the Tinkerpreneur. There'll be more sessions lined up like these in which you'll get to learn a lot. So yeah, all the best to everyone. And once again, thanks a lot to ma'am for joining this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.